Hey everyone, Dave Guerra here. I want to welcome you back to the Weekly Leader. It's time for another episode. It's another week, and man, the days are just flying right by. So without any delay, let's get this episode started. I mean, you know the premise. Let's go. Alrighty, and this first one, it's fresh. It just happened, and just the news just broke as I'm recording this. But it's one of those that we don't expect this to happen, and that's when a leader passes away. A leader passes away. And in the world of sports, it's Dwayne Haskins. He was a quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He was in Florida doing some preseason practice and training with other quarterbacks, other wide receivers. And it was just on their own kind of thing, but they were out there, and he was in an accident. A vehicle struck him while he was on the road on foot. He was walking side of the road, and he got struck and he was killed. So it's a sad loss. First of all, for the Haskins family, for the Steelers and all of his friends. Definitely, it's a sad, sudden loss, and no one likes that, especially the sudden ones when you don't see it. It just, you're not expecting it. Those that, it's longer. Well, you grow to accept it. You deal with it. You move on with it. You're prepared for it. And then, you can move on. But those that are sudden, especially in the leadership position, as quarterbacks are in the National Football League, they're looked as a team leader. They're looked at that quarterback on the field. I mean, the general on the field. There we go. The quarterback is the general on the field. And it's those individuals that people look to for leadership, especially during that game. And when there's a sudden loss like that, again, there's a void. There's a vacuum. Something needs to be done. Something needs to be addressed. Someone needs to step up, and it'll happen. It'll happen. Unlike in organizations, business organizations, there's an order of succession, and there will always be someone at the helm of the organization running the show. But is that person, are they prepared for it? Even though they might have, in some cases, indications that, hey, this might be happening. Look, don't be surprised. Just kind of heads up, head on a swivel. It doesn't matter, because when it still happens, it still happens, and no one is truly prepared for it. I mean, like I said earlier, if it's a long-term situation, you kind of wrap your head around it, but even then when that happens, no one is truly prepared. But they're going to be looking for people to turn to. Everyone else in the organization is going to be looking for someone to turn to. And most of them have succession plans in place, and that's the good ones. Those are the good organizations because they're prepared. They know realities happen. But what about those organizations that don't have it ready? What if your organization doesn't have it? Are you prepared? Are you prepared, current and future leaders? It's going to happen. It's a reality. It's part of leadership. That day will come to an end. And are you prepared to deal with it when it's your turn to step up or it's your turn to say goodbye? It does happen. So with that being said, understanding that now is the time to look at things. And we don't need to wait for somebody to be a wake-up call for everybody else, but hey, that's usually when it does happen, and that's okay. Learn from that and understand that sometimes the reality will overshadow everything, especially that what we don't want to recognize or realize or kind of stick our head in the sand for, because it's still going to happen whether we like it or not, and we have to be prepared for that. And folks, organizations that are prepared for that are those organizations that know the value of looking out for the people that are left behind. You, current and future leaders, always prepare for those that you lead, those that follow. Have them prepared, have them know that one day you're not going to be able to lead them anymore. Maybe they're going to fly off on their own and start their own thing. But hey, they can always look back on you and the legacy you built with them. And that's a good thing. So again, my condolences to the Haskins family, the Pittsburgh Steelers, and fans and friends of Dwayne Haskins. Gone too soon. We had yet to realize his full potential. He was on course. He was on a trajectory, and that's an upward trajectory. If you follow football, you'll know. Everyone else, again, organizations, be prepared for the inevitable. Plan for the inevitable, and share that plan with everybody. Now I want to look at it, and again, not necessarily on a bad side, but there was a situation that will be effective April 15th here this coming Friday, and that's going to be the Red Lobster, that food restaurant, the seafood restaurant, the all-you-can-eat shrimp thing, the endless shrimp basket or whatever it's called. No, it's the endless cheese biscuits. I think that's what they have. Anyway, that's beside the point. The CEO, the Chief Executive Officer, Kelly Valadez, it doesn't have a Z, so I can't say Valadez, but it might be pronounced Valadez. Resigns, is resigning after, that's right, 8 months. 8 months. 8 months. And there's a quote in that notice that the Kelly, that Valadez said. Oh, I'm sorry, Valadez. I'm sorry, there's no S. I saw there was an S, then now I see there is no S. In the quote, it says, "We've accomplished a lot in a short period of time, including building a great leadership team that, alongside the board, will carry the business forward to achieve our vision." And right there at the end, it does have. No, it doesn't. Okay, I keep wanting to see an S. I do apologize. Valadez. Okay, whatever. I'm sorry if I butchered that. I do apologize. But folks, the key takeaway here, 8 months. How can you build a solid leadership team in 8 months? It takes longer than that. There might be a foundation, and it could be a vision in place, but to achieve it, now it's going to be different, because the individual that's building that had that vision, that mission, that goal, 8 months, again, you're just now getting started. You're just now getting your feet wet in the organization. Yes, the individual had like 22 years running Chili's and then a couple of other organizations in between. So this individual did arrive at Red Lobster with some skills, some knowledge, but obviously some things were going on, and this does not weigh into future leaders. And future leaders at Red Lobster, you're going to have your job cut out for you, because one, they're going to compare you to that individual that's leaving here. They're going to say, "Hey, can you cut it? How long is this one going to stay here?" And they're going to enter with a stigma already on them, and that's non-negotiable. That's just the way it's going to happen. It's going to happen all the way across, from top to bottom, the C-suite all the way down to the frontline servers. Again, because it does trickle down, it does affect everybody, especially when a leader just calls it quits after 8 months. 8 months. Now, there might be some other reason. Maybe there's a medical reason behind it, or there's some personal reason behind it. We get it. That is life. But the fallout is still 8 months. The fallout is still, all we got out of this person was 8 months. What is that going to do for us? It's going to leave us in limbo. And no one wants to be in limbo. Everybody wants to know what's going on. Everybody wants to know. Trust me, I've been there. I've been down at the front lines. I've been down there in mid-management. I've been up there at the top tier. We all want to know. We all want to know what's going on, and when is this going to change? When is this going to get better? Or is this just going to get worse? And is this sinking ship just going to continue to sink and sink and sink until it hits rock bottom? And then it's every man, every woman, everyone for themselves. And then what happens? So, folks, Red Lobster and any other organization that runs into that situation where you have a top leader, the CEO, decides to call quits after 8 months, it might just be for the better that they did not have enough time to start. It might be for the best that they didn't dig themselves into a deeper trench. Maybe they saw what was coming down the line. If it wasn't for personal or medical reasons, maybe they saw what was coming down the line, and maybe they said, "Hey, you know what? I don't have the time anymore. I don't have the willpower. I don't have the internal strength to deal with this again." I mean, after 22 years at Chili's, I'm more than sure they've seen a lot. That individual has seen a lot. And now trying to rebuild this Red Lobster. Now, if you don't know about Red Lobster, they were part of the group that was Olive Garden, Red Lobster. There was one other one, the Darden Group, Darden, the Darden Group, and they were just restaurants all over the place. They had a lot. Oh my goodness! And I can see the logo. I want to say it was one of the steakhouses, one of like Logan's or not Ryan's, Logan's or Texas Roadhouse. It was one of those other ones. There were like several ones put together. It might have been the Outback one. I'm not too sure, but it was Olive Garden, Red Lobster, and Longhorn. Maybe Longhorn. Anyway, and then they broke it up because again they were having issues. They broke it up. They were having issues. So now the Red Lobster side of things, again, trying to ramp themselves up, trying to pick themselves up, and that's why you hear about like the endless shrimp combo or the all-you-can-eat fettuccine, but and breadsticks. It's kind of the same thing over at the other place. And this CEO obviously had one CEO before, prior to that, obviously, and now this one has come in and going. the stigma is going to be there. The organization is going to have to recover. The organization is going to have to basically start from scratch because, again, 8 months is not enough time to build anything solid. I mean, they might have a foundation, but again, is it teetering? Is it tottering? Is it just waving in the breeze? Organizations, leaders, current, future leaders, again, be prepared to go in for the long haul. Go in with the mindset of the long haul and go in there to ensure that the changes that were there before are sticking, and it can only get better. It can only get better. Now, obviously, if other situations pop up where you're not able to meet the long-term obligations, setting those long-term goals and not meeting them, well, just be prepared for the fallout because it'll be harder to get another job later on down the road as well. And for those of you coming in, filling in the blanks, for those individuals that were out there prior, again, it's going to be that much difficult for you because, again, you're going to be under the microscope. They're going to be asking you how much longer, and they're not going to flat out ask you, but they're all going to wonder how long you're going to stick around and how much damage you can do before you leave. So be prepared to go the distance. All right, next one, leadership issue, leadership concern. Delegators, doers, delegators versus doers, doers versus delegators, those that do and those that delegate. Ran into a situation and I'm not going to go into details, but there was a situation where they're looking to bring in an individual to lead this group, a group of other individuals. And in that group, they have two candidates. One who's not flat out saying it, but their history shows them as being a delegator. Meaning, hey, can you do this for me? Can you do this? I'm going to give you this assignment. While that individual leading that project doesn't get their hands dirty. That's for other people. That's a delegator. And again, then there's the doer. Then there's the one that's the other individual. There's a doer. That's a candidate also for that group. And they like to get into the trenches. They like to get their hands dirty. They like to get into the muck and the mud and make things happen almost to the point that they don't allow others to do anything. So you see, there's like two extremes. There's the delegator and there's the doer. And which one do you select? Which is the lesser of the two evils? Because everybody wants a doer. Everybody wants somebody who's going to get into the trenches and understand what's going on and get into the minutia and figure out, hey, you know what? I understand what your problem is. I understand why this is not getting done. I understand. Then again, there's the delegator who's always delegating something and has no clue as to what really truly is making everything happen. And if something's not clicking, something's not jiving, something's not falling into place, then guess what? They have no clue. They have no clue. They cannot resolve the issue because they've detached themselves so far that they cannot see what's going on. So be careful, current and future leaders, to have a mix of both. It's good to be part delegator, part doer, but don't be at the extreme of either a full delegator or nothing but a doer. Because again, the balance will just tip. And why do you have somebody who is going to be doing the record keeping if all you're doing is the record keeping? Why are you even in position if everybody else is doing your job? Everything that's part of your job, all you're doing is signing the check, signing the document, receiving that pay at that full level while everybody else is working. So again, be careful because it's easy to fall to the two extremes. And when you're out there at the two extremes, it's really, really difficult to get back in and get in balance and understand that, hey, of course, some things will give, some things won't give. It's a little give and take. But to that extreme of being a delegator and a full-time delegator or a full-time doer, that's not a good thing. So be careful. Get out there, learn both sides, and understand that there is a balance that you yourself, current and future leaders, must achieve all the time, every time, no excuses. All right, everyone. Well, we're at the end of the show. I want to thank you for stopping by. I want to thank you for watching. Hey, don't forget to follow me here on all of the social media accounts that I've listed here. Leave comments, questions down below. I want to hear from you. Let me know what you think of the show and all these past episodes here at the Weekly Leader. And again, I thank you for following me. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for everything you do. Definitely want to hear from you. So say hi. At least say hi. And until next week, peace. Take care of yourselves. Take it easy. And again, head on a swivel and you'll be good to go. Take care.